Welcome, data people. We are Zuma. My name is Matt, and this is the Data for Good podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Zuma. Zuma is a dedicated recruitment company focusing on data positions across Berlin. The Data for Good podcast is for the world of data science, analytics, and engineering, giving you a platform to hear the thoughts and opinions of data leaders from Berlin and beyond. Today, we're welcomed by Meri-Kris Jaama, Head of Data Science at Blinkist. So this is the start of Series 2, Episode 1. Meri-Kris, welcome. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. And not as well as you. You've just returned from vacation. Tell us more.
Yeah, I was in Tarifa, in very stormy Tarifa, trying to improve my kite surfing levels. Mostly was just on the beach watching pros doing it. It was very inspiring.
Best way to learn, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, today is going to be a very relevant episode. It's a juicy one. ChatGPT. Where do we start?
I don't know. I think it has been the biggest hype around AI since Siri. It's like, it's like with investment, when taxi drivers are talking about it, then it's too late. And I think it's sort of similar with ChatGPT, is that everybody is talking about it, less about actually leveraging it in a business sense. Because I mean, technically there is no publicly open API yet for companies to use it fully. But yeah, I think as a person being in the industry, it's quite overwhelming. Like every dinner table conversation revolves around it already, and it's becoming boring.
It's been an absolute baptism of fire, hasn't it? I think those who aren't in the industry of data science and AI knew it was coming, but mainstream, it like you say, it was Siri or iPhone, and people are starting to make their own assumptions and conclusions about what it's going to do. It's going to take over the world, for example, take all our jobs. In reality, it's a tool to be used. And I think Blinkist knew about ChatGPT a while ago and the kind of functionalities and potentials. How long ago was it on your radar?
Well, not ChatGPT specifically. Rather, we used GPT-3, for which ChatGPT is just a more defined model to be able to chat with. But we did go with brainstorming around GPT-3 when the API became public pretty quickly, and try to put the first systems into production soon, just to validate whether this technology can deliver actual value to our customers and to our business in general. And it was really cool and exciting to learn that, yes, it could.
I mean, we've all probably written inspiring poems that are quite funny with our colleagues on ChatGPT, but actual use cases, how do you start breaking that down and start planning and how it could be beneficial?
Yeah, so for us, we really, I mean, there are two ways of going with ideating around projects. There is, you first have a nail and then you look for a hammer, and the other one is you have a hammer and then you go looking for a nail. And when your function or domain is technology based, then you sometimes do the hammer one as well. But for us, we did have an actual use case at Blinkist, where we are sending out daily notifications which should give a teaser and a CTA around a book recommendation. And that was really our first use case, where we already had hundreds of simple examples, and the model could do pretty well to generate new ones. And the second project was more with, okay, but what other things could we do with this technology? And one thing that is known around the domain of recommender systems in general is that context matters. And language model can be used to generate that context. So we build a system to crawl trending news based on different location, and we map them to different books in our library. And then we used GPT-3 to generate the link, which is just a message to tie the news to the book recommendation. And that was quite an ambitious and cool project that we did. Got some hits and misses with it, but it was really a good learning, and I think we were all quite impressed with the outcome.
Awesome. And yeah, it shows great potential. But what limitations did you come across that you did expect or maybe didn't expect?
Well, there were really there were some offensive messages or messages that were just inaccurate. The model tried its best to create the link when sometimes the model itself didn't have the knowledge about the book or the news. So it implied that, oh, this is a book, like a documentary about people going to Mars for the first time, which obviously humans haven't been to Mars. But it just showed that there is this need for human supervision and also knowledge, because you can have a human, but if they don't know that we haven't been to Mars, they might think that it's a good message, grammatically correct, sounds like a good CTA. But there were quite a few of those kind of messages that were just misinformed.
Yes, it sounds like it. Well, we've seen that it's very, very good at creating answers, but the problem is how that answer is being put together and how trusting can you be of that answer?
Yeah, for sure, because it doesn't give. Or okay, there are some ways you can generate a confidence score for those answers, but they are not very good. Like those models can be very confident in presenting something that is actually bullshit.
It's it keeps up coming up and up, and are we ever going to get close enough that we can trust it? How do we improve? How does the models get better?
In the end, like there are mechanisms to improve it, right? The amount of data increases, the amount of feedback that different people using it give it also increases. So inherently, the model does keep improving. Will it ever be perfect? No, but probably no human will be either. So it's fundamentally, it's the same discussion as around self-driving cars. Are they gonna have accidents sometimes? Sure, but in the end, probably less than humans. So are we gonna accept the flaws of AI or demand perfection from it? If we need something to be perfect, then we would probably have to wait for a very long time. From our side, the way we think about it is that in critical use cases, if something is really customer facing, then we just implement a human in the loop mechanism. So to make sure that nothing goes out for things that might have less exposure, we might just accept that there is a rate of error that can happen, the same as with human curators or writers.
So what steps can we take to safeguard? We've got the human aspect in there. What else can we be doing to safeguard ourselves from using such powerful tools?
you can build other models on top of it, right? You can build a classifier or something else to give itself a score of confidence. We haven't had a use case like that yet, but it's very possible that it's something to do. Also, it's for natural language models, it's not just about being accurate or not, but some mistakes are more costly than others. So also assessing, like, okay, is the tone right, or is it like, does it for example, in the project where we mapped news with books and generated context, we explicitly excluded politics and some topics like that because they're too sensitive, and too often the model can take a biased view on it, which isn't in alignment with our company's voice and values.
How cautious do we need to be of the data sources that they're running on?
Well, I'm a believer that we are having more and more data out there. So if we can have models that are just trained on more or everything, I don't know, like the training of GPT-3 cost over $5 million or something like that. So it's a lot of data. I think more is more. If we have more, then we don't need to be as cautious. Of course, there are things that never make it in the digital realm, but the amount of that kind of data is also decreasing. So I wouldn't filter out sources, rather look at how can we include more sources.
If ChatGPT is available as a product for companies to buy, what opportunities would this present on a business use cases as opposed to open source as it is now?
Well, one area that is the most intriguing for us is how it can change the way people discover and consume information. So for a long time, we are used to this catalog-based discovery mechanism, where we go to Netflix and we see those thumbnails of different movies, and then we scroll and browse, and it's like a library, and then we think, does it resonate with me or not, and pick something. I think systems like ChatGPT or models like that really disrupt that kind of discovery, which is that you can just tell the model exactly what your mood is, what your demographic is, what your current interests are, and without any UI, you're served some kind of recommendation. And you can discover new content, you can ask questions without choosing which Google link to click on. And that's, I think, really interesting and disruptive.
How far can that go?
I think quite far. I remember it was quite a new thing already 7 years ago, where the concept of no UI was born. So each app could just be a a messenger app where you just ask for stuff. It could be your food delivery, it could be just a messenger app. Your Netflix could be just a messenger interface, and a Blinkist as well. But of course, it's about balancing different needs and different demographics of our customer base as well. Browsing also gives value. It's not just about knowledge consumption, it's knowing what is out there, having a broader sense of different content types. So I think I don't think that it's gonna be, oh no, everybody's gonna go with this different type of no UI and different types of recommender systems, which is just about asking in natural language what you want and then serving it. Because often people don't know what they want. And that's also one of the core ideas in recommender systems. It might be different, like a bit different in e-commerce, where you might go to a platform with a specific intent on what to buy. But I think it's relatable to most that in the end, if you submit the order, there are a few things that you really, really didn't intend to buy, and yet you're still buying them.
All being very, very guilty of that, as certainly with the food delivery. There's something innate in humans. We just love to search. I don't know. Even though we know what we want, we're, like you said, oh, what else is there? Is there something new? Is there something different? And I guess that's quite hard to put into a model and predict. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I think it is, but it's just about understanding that there are different intents to knowledge or content consumption, different intents to discovery. Sometimes it's good to browse, and sometimes you have a very specific question that has a specific answer, or that has a best recommendation for you. And as a knowledge company or a content company, for us it's important to serve to those different intents for our customers, and that might mean building different discovery funnels and adding features that we don't yet have. But I'm of course talking in terms of future vision. We are not doing it yet, but of course thinking about how those advancements in technology can impact what we do day to day.
You mentioned it's still the biggest aspect is the question that's being asked.
Yeah,
that's not controllable, and that's probably the biggest factor to the answer. And how do we predict that moving forward?
Yeah, well, you can also ask for question recommendations, right? What are the things I should know if I want to be successful? But yeah, should you want to be successful? I don't know. Yeah, there should be some basis. You can't transfer or your brain to an AI. There is some interest in every person, hopefully, and that will continue.
So where does explainable AI come into this? If you're asking the question, how does that work?
I mean, I don't. That's an interesting question, because of course, I haven't seen that asked around like social media, like oh, but how did you come up with this Drake lyric? People, I don't know if people really care. I think businesses care when they have something to lose, whether their decision is really founded on something solid. But for businesses leveraging a technology that is used by millions of people and appreciated by millions of people, it's already validation enough. Which is very different from, all those in-house data science teams that develop their own models and have to pitch it to their executive teams and convince marketing to make marketing decisions on top of them. I think it's a bit like it's a different problem of explainability than, but Google search just works. Google Translate just works. You don't ask like, but what model or what data sources does Google Translate use? Can I trust it? Like, of course, you take it with a grain of salt sometimes, but knowing the inside of it has never, like, I haven't heard it framed like a concern.
No, you're very, very right. I never question Google Translate it. If it's there or thereabout and it kind of makes sense, I don't question it. Sometimes when I have a play around with ChatGPT, I'm thinking, where have you got that from? It's interesting, and it's where does the liability sit? Like, I think there was a case with David Guetta used it and said, write me an M&M rap, and then put it into an AI producer, and it made an M&M rap, and he was playing it at gigs, but Eminem couldn't complain because it wasn't actually Eminem. So how do we regulate these kind of points?
I mean, I don't know. I think
I don't want to be the one who makes that decision.
Yeah, let me tell you, Matt. This is how we should legislate it, and this is how IP should go. I think it's not there is no simple answer to that. But for me, I think this seem like side questions. It's like, okay, we have something new. We don't know how to deal with it in all aspects of life. It's okay. This happens with every new innovation that comes, and we will figure it out in the long run somehow. And maybe one thing we need is just time to understand its actual implications, and then be able to adapt as a society or as a business.
Yeah, a lot of people are freaking out, and we don't really know what it is yet or how it can be utilized. It's kind of scary and exciting at the same time.
Yeah, well, but already in our lifetime, we've had so many of those scary changes, and we're still here. Most people are. So I think we just have to adapt. That change is the most natural thing to life, and our life also involves a lot of technology now. So it's part of it, and I think we've been pretty good so far with taking the time and learning how to leverage all those different technologies.
Exactly. I think it's embracing it. I think the most popular kind of meme I've seen is AI won't replace you, but someone who is using AI will. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I think still, like, one thing that I love about all leaps in technology is that they're automating usually the stupid challenges, like stupid work. So in a way that enables us to focus on things we're good at, which is creativity. We, like, our educational system shouldn't be about knowing facts anymore. Every fact is just a short question away from you. So it's about creating unique connections, coming up with new ideas, and yeah, doing what we do best. So I see it inherently as a good thing, that stupid things that can be done by machines, and we can do creative things.
Yeah, the tedious, repetitive tasks that we do day in, day out, they may be no more. And yeah, we can focus on other things.
And really, like the thing I mentioned before, like in order, like with ChatGPT, in order to assess the quality of its output, you need to have somebody who knows the answer as well. So and maybe it will be faster to use the answers, to give them to people, but we still need competent people to train and work with the AI.
Absolutely. Even more data will be used. With more data, the need for more people, so more creativity. So I think it's golden age for everyone within data.
Yeah, for sure. I think for like working at Blinkist, of course, one of the core functions for us is getting key insights from books. So there is a question like, oh, but maybe now AI can summarize all the books, and then you can just add thousands of books to your library without any effort. But really, to assess the quality of it, somebody has to have read the book, right? Somebody has to also have thought about what are the key ideas, because otherwise it might be gibberish. And oftentimes, and where we are at the moment, oftentimes it still is. There are some areas where we still need good people reading books and serving key insights.
Yeah, we can't get away from the fact that people enjoy to read, and knowing that it's someone's story or fiction, who knows, it's still the joy of reading. And I don't think AI is going to take away from that. I mean, to finish up and maybe ask one more question, what are you most excited about with AI and recent developments?
I'm to tie in with the last topic. I'm most excited about the creative space every new technological advancement creates, because it's like, okay, now we have something new with what we can do, something that was impossible before, and that's a really cool space to be in.
Awesome. I think I'm with you. I think creativity is going to go from strength to strength as well. Things are going to happen that we didn't picture now, and I think this is going to enable us to do so. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much, Meri-Kris. I hope you enjoyed it. A very relevant topic, but thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Let's check in a year. How well did our predictions go?
We will. We'll call ourselves out in a year's time.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you. And to the listeners, always drop your questions, any feedback, and we'd love to hear that, and do share it so we can reach as many people as possible, especially on such a relevant topic. It's bye from us. Thanks once again, Meri-Kris. Ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao.